What is up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York, calling from the quarantine zone again. And this time we are here with Gina of Little Miss Nasty. Great to be able to talk with you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. What's up?
I gotta say, I have the utmost respect for Little Miss Nasty because you really bridge, I think, a lot of gaps. The fact that you could tour with bands like In This Moment and Star Set and do a lot of things like that, but also, members of your group, dancing with Nicki Minaj and Lady Gaga, you're proving that the future of music is genreless and you're bringing people together with this. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, and it's a really nice compliment. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the new single "Hungry," I was just jamming that. This single is absolutely fun to listen to. Is this a good representation of like the more music that Little Miss Nasty is going to be making in the future?
Well, how you were just talking about crossing genres and all of that, I feel like that's really our mission. We don't want to be put into a box and expected to have a certain sound. And we are all so diverse in our music taste and upbringing and being professional dancers. You're really raised on all types of music, hip hop, pop, rock, classical. So across the board, we're into all of it and we're just dabbling now. We're fucking around, we're trying out new things. I feel like every song will have a new sound because there's no limit, right? We can really do whatever we want. So
Yeah.
we're just having fun.
Yeah, and that's what I could tell by listening to the music is that you weren't like enslaved to like a preconceived idea of what you want to do. There was just nothing but fun dabbled into this. So I'm excited to see what you do
Yeah.
next.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of our following and fans might have been expecting a heavier sound just because on our bigger tours within this moment, Motionless in White, Star Set, we do present such a heavy metal presence on stage. And that is part of Little Miss Nasty, but when it came down to making the music, we're like, let's slip in a little hip hop beat, let's add a little EDM fun because the heavy metal fans are not the only Little Miss Nasty fans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like wide range,
Yeah.
universal.
Absolutely.
We're
And I
making everyone happy.
well, I think the more music that you release, the more doors are going to open up for the future. And like I've been noticing it too. Like when I was at Louder Than Life in 2019, I saw Ice Cube playing with Godsmack and Guns N' Roses. I mean, those are three completely separate artists, but the crowd was equally into it. So I think you're going to have the
Yeah,
same sort of thing.
fuck it. Why not?
Yeah. Do you ever have like a musical idea that like or a preconceived idea that you want the music to sound like or just having fun, you're kind of like throwing a bunch like it's just straight up experimentation the whole way through?
It's a little bit of both. I feel like once we start experimenting and we'll lay down a simple riff, it usually starts with either a beat or a riff. And it could be a bass line or a guitar riff. And so I usually have I call it like a stanky idea. I'm like, ooh, I kind of want it to be like, and just something danceable, sexy, swanky, fun. And then we just build upon it and keep adding sounds, eliminating sounds, fucking around with different layers and levels. And so, you know, there's not really a direction. It's just kind of what falls out. But as long as it hits hard, there has to be like some heaviness in music for me to get down. Even if it's a track like Hungry, there's still that heavy guitar creeping in, some synth, the end builds. And so, as long as the 808 is rumbling the motherfucking building, then I'm all set.
There you go. And those bass lines are pretty damn heavy. You could break some windows with that. So,
That's the goal. When we perform these songs on tour, I want the club to rattle and
yeah.
I want people to vibrate.
Breaking windows and breaking hearts. Um
Yes, exactly. New slogan.
all right. Take it. It's all yours.
Trademark. Thanks.
Now, being that you're also very invested in the world of burlesque and, movement and dancing is part of what Little Miss Nasty is, I'd imagine that you are thinking, when you are writing the music, you are thinking about how you are going to move to it, right? I guess one thing that has to tie all your music together is it has to create movement with, and give you an idea of how you're going to dance to it, right?
Yeah, 100%. If the beat slash track slash song doesn't make me start squirming in my seat or shaking my ass, it's not for us. We want something that's danceable, that people can have fun to, fucking party, shake their ass, stripper anthems. I feel like a lot of music I write with my producer, Mark, ends up being sort of stripper anthems. And I don't know if you're familiar with my own personal band, Gina and the Eastern Bloc, my other project, but we have this sort of stripper anthem called Sippin' on a 40 that eventually made it into the Little Miss Nasty show and has been sort of like our hit performance now. But that sort of stems this following of pole dancers and other burlesque girls and women around the world, even men, but they all want to get down to it. And if you search, the hashtag or something, you'll see people from everywhere dancing to it, pole dancing to it, doing all their nasty bits to it. So that's kind of like cool because we are dancers and performers and we want others to be able to dance to it too.
Well, I've been to a couple of burlesque shows in my life, and I find it beyond impressive because just the way that every second leads to another so perfectly on how you're able to, have this. Every burlesque dancer has their own identity and their own theme and their own choreography. Is that something that you actually like? Is that rehearsable? Is that something that you have to rehearse? Or is there, like, as you have so much fun with your craft, you're kind of on stage also just winging it?
Yeah, so it's both because technically we're not a burlesque show. I said that in the beginning of our development because we were so sexy and shocking as a dance performance and obviously like wearing close to nothing or sometimes stripping things off but never to like fully nude. So we're a group of professionally trained dancers, like ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop, modern, all that shit. And we hold it down in the LA commercial world, the Vegas commercial world. And so for us to come together and put on this show, we like to incorporate our professional dance backgrounds. And so 80% of the show is fully choreographed, which is like second to second, move to move. You learn where you go on the stage, what side you exit, your quick change. It's just like so much information. You have to seriously practice and rehearse. But then the cool thing about our show is there are solo moments outside of the group pieces where the girls can do whatever the fuck they want under a little direction. And so I feel like as a performer in the show, it's just so liberating to be a part of like a structured production, but then have that moment to go out there and if you want to grab your beer and fucking blast the whole audience, you can do that. If you want to jump off the stage and crowd surf, you can do that. You have that freedom. And so it's really both.
Yeah, it's like the best of both worlds, I feel, because like I've always said what it is about dancing to me is that you could either tell somebody's a really great dancer or just completely has two left feet right out of the gate, and like it's one of those things where you don't need to analyze it for too long to know what's good about it. And I kind of want to know a little bit about your background. Were you like classically trained in ballet in a way before moving on to the craft that you're currently involved with, or what was sort of like your roots in a way?
Yeah, from a young age, I dove into jazz, ballet, gymnastics, everything. I grew up in a competitive studio, so we would go on dance conventions and competitions every weekend. And every summer, I was born and raised in Michigan. I would travel to New York City and do this grand competition at the end of the year and get to interact with all these dancers from across the US who were like the best in their studios coming together to compete. And so after growing up, I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of Michigan. I'm going to LA or New York where the stuff goes down. So I tried a little bit in New York. I like that. But LA was really my calling. Just, it was sexier. And it had more jobs that I wanted to do. And so came out here. I joined a scholarship program. It's really great for dancers at the Edge Performing Arts Dance Theater. For 1 year, I trained like literally 10 classes a day straight, and you make connections with all the choreographers. Then they shoot you out into the dance world with an agent and you're ready to work. So that was kind of my path getting into the business. And I worked as a professional dancer until I was like, I want to do my own thing. Let's fucking do it.
And here you are now, giving us some
Here
great
I am.
music. And do you feel that like maybe this is for lack of better terms, this question might sound a little weird, but like when you go into this form of choreography and you dance the way you do you almost feel like you're escaping who you personally are, that maybe like on stage or even in this music that you're portraying like a character in a way?
Yeah, in a way. Since I'm the mastermind behind all of this, it really is a part of me. I feel like some of my other girls might come in and play more of a role than I would because, it like came out of here and is shooting out of here. But it's not like I walk around on Sunset Boulevard with my nipple tape on. I mean, I have. But, I'm not running around town looking like how I do on stage or acting out like that all the time. So that doesn't mean I don't want to do that or that's not part of who I am, because it is like a secret mission to be this rock star, reckless, debauchery, wild woman on stage. And so I get to live that there.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope I'm like not missing my question.
No, you answered it perfectly, and I feel like when you are a dancer in a way, like the way that you move, like I almost consider the movement to be like another language. You're expressing something that you wouldn't be able to express with words, which is why, like, I love the song that I was just hearing. I loved "Hungry," and I really want to see Little Miss Nasty live though, because I think that's when you're gonna get the full experience in a way.
Totally. And we can't wait to perform our song. All we have performed so far is dancing to other people's music. And then obviously my band song, Sipping on a 40. But here we are. Now we get to bump Hungry on stage, sing it, and dance to it. So it's going to be a whole new world and show moving forward for Little Miss Nasty.
Yeah, and when you play like in front of like a metal audience or like a more pop audience, like I think this is an appropriate atmosphere. You could play this in any setting. You could play this at like a at a death metal show. That'll be awesome. But you could also play it at like a rave in a way. I think that
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna bring so many different audiences together.
And I feel like just having a live band behind us in the future is going to beef it up so much, because you know how you hear some tracks and you're like, oh, that sounds, hella pop. Or even in this moment, some of her tracks are super light and poppy feeling just by listening to it. But then you see them live and they're fucking throwing down, and the band just like brings the energy level up so much, and that heaviness and the power. And so I can't wait until we have a band to just blast that shit.
Yeah. Well, I saw
Make
in
it.
this I saw in this moment long before they had the choreography. Like I saw them opening. It was them opening, followed by Seven Dust, Disturbed, and Corn. And like this was before people really knew who In This Moment was. I think they put out like their second album or something like that. So they didn't have their stage. So you could tell that they have incredible instrumental talent that they portray if you were to see them back in the day. But like when you see them live nowadays, it's just like an alternate reality.
Yeah. And I know, because I feel like they used to be way harder, and then they kind of dabbled into new sounds, and
Yeah.
they're constantly evolving, just like all artists should. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, well, them and New Year's Day, who I believe you've toured with as well, they both started off in the whole Warped Tour sort of world and that thing. So, it always starts off with, that real aggressive form. And then, as you experiment more and more, you get happier, I guess is the best. I don't know.
Yeah.
But and has exploring your own style, because before dancing with other people, but do you feel that exploring your own music and your own craft maybe opened up new ideas on how you dance in the future?
Exploring my craft. I feel like becoming an artist outside of being a dancer, you're already tapping into these new parts of yourself that are more raw and pure and emotional. And so when you grow up as a dancer, it's very disciplined. It's like stand in your spot, put on your smile, where's your tutu, slick your hair back so you look like everybody else. And then once you're finding your own voice, not even just like your own dance moves, but your own voice, it's like free for all. When I perform on stage singing, it is so amazing because I can do whatever the fuck I want. There's no formation I have to run to, there's no move I have to go do. So, really, it's like much more animalistic. It's kind of what comes out at the moment. So it's more of like that improv vibe. And you kind of like go to a place where you black out and you have no idea what's going on. And the show's over and you're like, what the hell just happened? Just because you're so in the moment, literally in the moment, doing what you want instead of having that pre plan of everything.
Definitely.
So it's just more raw. It's like more real and it loosens you up a bit.
I'd imagine that there's a little bit more pressure on you because, dancing for another artist, you kind of have like a preconceived notion of what you're supposed to do. There is like you're kind of in a way working with their vision in a way, and everything is kind of laid out. But with Little Miss Nasty, all the pressure's on you.
Yeah, but that's the most fun part because then you're in control too.
Yeah.
So when you're dancing behind someone, you could literally get disciplined. They'd be like, get off me, or like, you were too close, or why were you smiling at the camera? Like, you should be looking to the artist. There's just so many things where your purpose is to have them shine, and make their show great. But when you're out there kicking ass as Little Miss Nasty, who are all rock stars in their own way, there's no rules, there's no limit. And I really want all of us to shine. And we are good enough to hold down that position. And so it's almost like a shame for the dancers of Little Miss Nasty to be background dancers or, lined up behind an artist when we're out here proving that we are the artist too.
Absolutely. I mean, when I've watched so many like pop performances where like you see the dancers in the background and they're all killing it with the artists. They're making it much stronger. But I really want to get to know those dancers in a way, which is why I was really excited to do this interview because it really gave me the opportunity to see people who really are the backbone of a performance and how they also have their own vision in a way as well. So
Yeah. And honestly, some of these girls it's hard to book them on our tours when we go out for 6 to 7 weeks at a time because everybody has their own agent. Everyone is booked almost nonstop. Of course, they show up for Little Miss Nasty because they love it and they want to be a part of it. But like you were saying earlier, one of my main girls, Sophie, the other lead girl singing on the track, she's constantly booked with artists and like, just tell your agent no. I'm like, I'm your new agent now, so come over here. But she's on the road with Usher half the year, and then she's out with Christina Aguilera and like J Lo and Beyonce and just all these massive artists. But she's finally stepping into her own artistry, which was a dream of hers. And so I'm really happy to give her this opportunity. I wish she was here to chat with you.
oh man, it would be great. Maybe we could do a Little Miss Nasty part 2.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, all my girls are super cool. Fucking awesome. I love them.
I could tell just by the music and just reading about. When I was asked to do this interview, I was like, this is an artist I need to interview. This is somebody that's different and is gonna really push the boundaries of not just music but just art in general. I think the way that we experience creativity.
Yeah, I know. When I saw Heavy New York, I was like, oh shit. I'm like, I mean, I know we're heavy. I'm like, but are we really heavy? Is Hungry really heavy? But you see the art and experimentation behind it, which I think is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
it's cool to interview an artist like you, but also interview Cannibal Corpse. I think it's a great
yeah.
diversity. And heavy is so subjective. I can't tell you how many soccer moms ask me, "Oh, do you interview bands that are heavy like Creed or Nickelback?" So heavy is subjective.
Oh my god,
Yep.
that's cute.
And before we go, I want to thank you, A, so much for your time today and for such a great conversation. Is there just the final question I want to ask you is when can we be getting the new full length Little Miss Nasty album? And is there also anything else that you would like to promote?
Well, I think we're sticking with the singles game right now. We have a new single coming out June 18th. It's called Little Miss Nasty.
Awesome.
So that'll be a fun summer banger. It's different from what we put out. It's fun in its own way. We were asked to go on a tour this summer. We're patching that up. The announcement should be coming soon. If not, fall, winter. We are relaunching all of our residency shows: Los Angeles, Long Beach, Las Vegas, and San Francisco. So anytime you guys want to book a trip to Vegas, you got to catch Little Miss Nasty out there. LA, you know we're throwing it down out here. You guys have to check out our music video, check out our single, go buy some shit on our website, littlemissnastyofficial.com. We make the costumes that we wear on stage and replicas for people. So if you want to dress like us, you have the chance to do that. We have merch, custom vans. We have so much awesome shit. People just need to go to the website and check all of it out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Gina. Everybody, Little Miss Nasty, check out the new single Hungry if you haven't already. New stuff coming soon. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.